I can feel her breath in the darkness, as though the room itself remembers Sophie's final scream. The air is heavy, thick with memories that refuse to die. My name is Daniel Levin, Sophie's only surviving child. I was 6 when Mother stood on that frigid railcar platform in Auschwitz, clutching us both as the SS guards herded in the condemned souls. The choice she made tore our family apart before we even knew what family meant. 20 years have passed since that day, but the past is never past. It clings to the walls of this crumbling farmhouse, to the warped floorboards, to the shadowed corners where memories fester. I stand at her bedside now, the moonlight slicing through broken shutters, painting pale stripes across her thin arms. Sophie's hair, once lustrous and blonde, now frames her gaunt face in streaks of silver. Her eyes, vast pools of sorrow, drift between lucidity and something far darker and void of life. She stirs, her body trembling beneath the scratchy sheets. "Daniel," she whispers, voice cracking like an old record recording. I lean close, my breath warm against her cool skin. "I'm here, Mother. You're safe." But I know she's not speaking of safety. Her gaze shifts past me to the corner of the room where shadows deepen. "He's here. Michael. He's calling me." My heart clenches. Michael, my brother, the twin I never knew, the one she chose to leave behind. A sudden creak echoes from the hallway. The farmhouse groans, settling into the night. I sit back, brushing her cheek with my hand. "No one's here but us. You're dreaming." She doesn't answer. Her eyes glaze over as she watches that unseen presence. I tuck the blankets around her shoulders and slip from the room, footsteps muffled by the threadbare rug. Outside, the wind rattles the broken window panes, carrying a low wailing, like a child's cry swallowed by distance. I pause at the threshold, swallowing hard. The memory comes unbidden. Sophie's scream, high and piercing, echoing across the platform as she handed me to a guard and clung to Michael until he was torn from her arms. I still hear it sometimes, when the wind howls through these walls. I close the door. I find solace in the kitchen, its cracked tiles cold beneath my bare feet. I brew tea, green, to soothe her fevered dreams, and breathe in the steam. I trace the chipped porcelain cup with a fingertip, feeling its jagged edges. It is beautiful and broken, like us. I press the cup to my lips and let the warmth spread through me. Outside, a lone crow calls, its voice harsh against the night. I imagine it as Michael, calling for his mother. A memory surfaces, Sophie's arms wrapped around me as the train lurched forward, Michael's cries swallowed by the rumble of wheels. I remember her lips, pale and trembling, whispering apologies she never meant to speak. The teapot hisses, pulling me back to the present. I pour the tea into a thermos and steel myself. I have to check on her. I return to the bedroom. Sophie is sitting up, back against the headboard, knees drawn to her chest. Her eyes are fixed on the corner, unblinking. "I brought you tea," I say softly. She looks at me, her pupils wide. "He's here. He wants her to suffer. He wants me to choose again." "Mother, no one's here. You're safe." She shakes her head, hair falling across her face. "Safe? Safe from what?" I swallow. "From him. From Michael." "Michael." She closes her eyes, and for a moment the room is still. I step forward and gently take her hand. Her skin is ice. "You don't have to choose. It's over." Her breath catches. "It's never over. Not for me. Not for him." She stands abruptly, knocking the cup from my hand. It shatters on the floor. Tea soaks into the rug. "I'm sorry," she whispers, voice trembling. "I'm so sorry." Before I can reach her, she turns and walks out of the room. I follow, heart pounding. She moves down the hallway, each step echoing like a drumbeat. She pauses at the window, staring out at the fields. The moonlight casts her silhouette long and thin. "They're there," she murmurs. "All of them. Waiting." I join her, sliding an arm around her shoulders. "Who's there?" She doesn't answer. Instead, she stares out into the darkness, as though searching for something I cannot see. I hold her until her breathing steadies, then guide her back to bed. She falls against me, exhaustion pulling her under. I tuck her in once more, then retreat into the hallway, leaning against the wall. The corridor stretches before me, walls stained with age. I run my hand along the wood paneling, feeling its grooves. Each knot is like a memory, a wound that refuses to heal. I press my palm to the wall and close my eyes. In the silence, I hear it again. A faint whisper, a child's voice. "Choose, choose." I open my eyes. The hallway is empty, but the whisper lingers. I shake my head and return to the bedroom, determined to protect her from her own mind. Sleep has become a battleground. Every night, I descend into a realm where time fractures and guilt incarnates. It began with Sophie's nightmares, visions of Michael's face, pale and silent, his small hand reaching through barbed wire. She would wake with tears frozen on her cheeks, trembling as though still shackled. Then the dreams invaded me. I see Sophie standing alone on the platform. The train's whistle splits the night air, a banshee's wail. She holds us both, Michael and me, two perfect infants swaddled in identical blankets. The guards' rifles glint under the lamps. Sophie's lips quiver. She looks to the SS officer, his face a mask of cold indifference. "Choose," he commands. In my dreams, I watch her hands, slender, pale, tremble as she lifts Michael, then me, then Michael again. She presses us both to her heart, her tears soaking the blankets. I don't see which child she hands over. I wake before the decision, but the echo of that command lingers. Choose, or both die. My heart races in the darkness. I lie in bed, limbs tangled in sheets, listening for Sophie's soft sobs from the next room. I imagine the ghostly figure of Michael drifting down the hallway, searching for her, searching for me. One night, I find myself standing on that platform again. But this time, the sky is a swirling vortex of ash and flame. The guards are masked figures of smoke, their eyes glowing embers. The infants in Sophie's arms become writhing, pale worms crawling across her chest. She screams, and the worms multiply, covering her face, seeping into her mouth. I wake with a gasp, sweat drenching my sheets. My heart pounds so fiercely I can feel it in my throat. I stagger to the bathroom, flicking on the light. The mirror fogs from my breath. I stare at my reflection. Dark circles under my eyes, skin drawn tight. I barely recognize the man staring back. A whisper drifts from the hallway. He's coming. I spin around, but the hallway is empty. Only the ticking of the clock answers. I return to bed, unable to shake the images. I lie there, eyes open, until dawn bleeds into the sky. That morning, Sophie refuses breakfast. She sits at the table, unmoving, eyes fixed on a single point beyond the window. "Mother?" She doesn't respond. I fill a bowl with porridge and set it before her. The spoon clatters as I push it closer. "Eat." Her eyes snap to mine, wild and unfocused. He's hungry. He wants more. More of what? She stands abruptly, chair scraping. "Life. I gave him half. He wants the rest." My blood runs cold. "Michael." She turns away, retreating to her room. I stand frozen, the porridge growing cold on the table. I realize then, the dreams are bleeding into reality. The barrier between past and present is cracking. Daylight brings no solace. By day, I am her caretaker, preparing meals, washing clothes, coaxing her to eat. But we speak little of the past. It hangs between us like a thick fog. Survivor's guilt is a living thing. It coils around my chest, tightens with every breath. It hisses, "You lived. He died." In the barn, I find an old wooden cradle, empty, decaying, its paint chipped. I run my fingers along its edge. Once it held 2 bundles of hope. Now it holds only dust and regret. I trace a faded scar on my arm, a bullet grazed from a skirmish years ago, a petty reminder that the world still bleeds. The scar itches when I think of Michael. He never had a chance to grow, to bleed, to live, to love. That afternoon, I discovered Sophie in the barn, rocking slowly, her eyes glazed. "Mother." She didn't answer. Her lips moved, forming words I couldn't hear. I approached, and the air turned icy, my breath fogged. "He's coming," she murmured, voice distant. "To take him back. The child she spared." I felt a cold wind stir the dust, though the barn door was closed. "No one's coming," I said, voice shaking. She looked at me, eyes wild. "Your brother's ghost. He wants revenge." I gripped her shoulders. He's at peace." She laughed, a broken sound. "Peace? There is no peace for those torn from life. He hungers. He hungers for the choice she made." Her words were a curse. I led her back to the house, each step weighted with dread. Inside, I locked the barn door and bolted it. I wiped the sweat from my brow, but my hands trembled. I realized then, the ghost was real, and its hunger was growing. The ghost arrived on the 7th night. I knew it would, for every nightmare had drawn closer, every whisper sharper. I heard it first, a soft scraping, like fingernails on wood, coming from Mother's room. I froze in the hallway. The moonlight revealed motes of dust drifting like lost souls. I moved forward, each step measured, heartbeat loud in my ears. Sophie's door stood ajar. I pushed it gently. Inside, she sat upright in bed, eyes fixed on the corner where darkness pooled. "Daniel, do you see him?" she whispered. I followed her gaze. There, at the foot of her bed, stood a boy, a perfect copy of me at 6, down to the rumpled shirt and bare feet. But his eyes were black voids, and his skin an unnatural pallor. "Daniel," he repeated, voice hollow. My throat seized. I took a step forward, but the boy remained still, a statue carved of shadows. "Michael," Sophie murmured, voice trembling. The boy's lips curved into a smile that split the silence, revealing teeth too many, too sharp. "You chose wrong," he whispered. I screamed. The sound tore from my chest like metal on bone. The boy's form flickered, dissolving into smoke that slithered toward Sophie. She screamed too, a sound I'll carry to my grave. I lunged, grabbing her shoulders, dragging her back against the pillows. The smoke coalesced into the shape of a child. Michael, but twisted, hungry. "Give me back what is mine," the ghost hissed. "No!" I shouted. "She's mine!" The ghost's face contorted in rage. He reached out, fingers elongating into claws. I covered Sophie with my body, shielding her as the ghost lunged. A cold so intense it burned pressed into my back. I felt my blood freeze. Then, silence. The ghost vanished, leaving only the echo of its cruelty. Sophie lay still. Her eyes were closed, breaths shallow. I shook her. "Mother, Sophie." She coughed, opening her eyes. They were clear, terrified, but alive. He's gone? She whispered. He's gone. But I knew the ghost would return. It was born of her choice, and its hunger could not be sated. At dawn, the world felt different. Fragile, wounded, but alive. Sophie sat in her rocking chair on the porch, wrapped in a blanket. The first rays of sunlight turned the fields to gold. I joined her, offering a mug of green tea. She took it with trembling hands. "He came again last night," she said, voice hushed. "He said I chose wrong." I knelt beside her, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "You chose the living child. You saved me." She closed her eyes, tears falling. But at what cost? I looked across the fields, the old rail tracks cutting through the landscape, rusted rails disappearing into the trees. It was where it all began. I stood. "Come with me." She rose, swaying, and I guided her down the porch steps. Together we walked to the tracks. The air was cold, crisp, the earth still damp from dawn's morning dew. I placed her hand on the rail. "This is where you chose, where you survived, where you lost him." She swallowed. "I can't go back there." "You have to," I said softly. "Not to relive the pain, but to reclaim the choice." Her eyes met mine, full of fear, sorrow, and something else. Hope. We stepped onto the ties. Each creak echoed like a heartbeat. At the center of the clearing, a single lantern hung from a broken signal post, its glass cracked, the flame inside gone. I lifted the lantern. "Light it!" She hesitated, then struck a match. The lantern's glow chased back the shadows. "Speak his name," I urged. She closed her eyes. "Michael." The wind stirred. The rails groaned. A chill brushed my neck. I turned, expecting the ghost, but found only the fields, bathed in morning light. "Michael," Sophie whispered again. "I'm sorry. I never meant to hurt you." I felt a presence behind me, gentle, mournful. A small hand brushed mine. I held my breath. "You chose life," a soft voice echoed, no longer hollow, but gentle. Sophie opened her eyes, tears streaming. "Michael?" I looked, but saw only the light shifting in the trees. "I forgive you, Mother," the voice said. The lantern's flame steadied, the wind stilled. Sophie sank to her knees, sobbing. I knelt beside her, wrapping my arms around her. "He's at peace now," I whispered. She leaned into me, her body shaking. "And I can be at peace too?" I held her tighter. "Yes." Together we remained on the tracks until the sun rose high, burning away the shadows. The lantern's light faded, its purpose fulfilled. We walked back to the farmhouse hand in hand. The walls seemed less oppressive, the air lighter. Survivor's guilt still whispered, but it had lost its power. At the door, Sophie paused. "Daniel, thank you." I kissed her forehead. "We're alive. That's what matters." Inside, the farmhouse no longer felt haunted. It felt like home. And sometimes, that is enough.